In a sprawling city bustling with life, a modest bus driver, George, went about his usual routine. He headed to the bus garage, started his nondescript city bus, and went along his regular path through the cityscape, listening to the hum of city life surrounding him. Every day was a simple one, with people getting on and off, exchanging silent acknowledgments, and George, like a well-rehearsed ballet conductor, orchestrating the stops. This routine was as comforting as the sunrise. George was not one to make waves. Standing at 5 feet 3 inches with a slim frame and a soft voice, he was a man who lived by principles of peace and simplicity. His quiet demeanor was reflected in his driving, steady and predictable. On a particular stop this fine day, something rather unusual occurred. As passengers shuffled on and off the bus, George observed a towering figure approaching. The man was immense, standing at 6 feet 8 and as solid as a rock. His presence was imposing. His arms were like tree trunks, brushing near to the floor as he moved. This fellow, known only as Big John to those who dared speak his name, boarded the bus, bypassing George with a statement that shattered the calm of the morning. Big John doesn't pay. He then made his way to the back, his movements slow but assured. George, with his gentle nature, felt the unfairness bubble inside him, but it was quickly doused by the reality of who he was, a meek, unassuming driver facing a man who could easily overpower him. He let it slide that day, unwilling to confront such a formidable force. The same scene unfolded the following day, and the day after, each occurrence gnawing away at George's peace. Each time Big John declared, "Big John doesn't pay," it rang through the bus, a challenge left unanswered by George, who quietly resumed his role as the passive driver. Sleepless nights became George's companion. The thought of Big John's brazen defiance kept him restless, the thought echoing through his mind, a taunt, a puzzle. He knew something had to change. He wanted the self-respect he'd relinquished somewhere in Big John's shadow. In a moment of resolution, George decided to undergo a transformation. He signed up for bodybuilding classes, karate, judo, everything that might give him the strength he felt he needed. Days turned into weeks, and throughout the summer, George molded himself into a new man. He watched his body grow stronger, his mind more confident until he felt truly ready. The following Monday, fortified by his hard-won strength, George arose confidently to face his day. When Big John boarded the bus and hollered his usual decree, "Big John doesn't pay," the atmosphere shifted. George, filled with newfound courage, rose from his seat, his eyes locking on Big John with unexpected bravado. "And why not?" he bellowed, his voice carried by the confidence built over months of training. Silence wrapped the passengers, everyone holding their breath. Big John, taken aback not by intimidation, but by the unusual confrontation, looked at George, baffled. "Big John has a bus pass," he explained, as though the fact was as clear as day. In that moment, clarity dawned on George. The absurdity of the situation rendered him silent. Oddly relieved, he realized that sometimes problems seemed much larger than they were, obscuring the simple truth that lay directly in front of him. The moral of the story is clear. Before laboring to solve a perceived problem, be sure that the problem truly exists.